I feel your pain. I feel the struggle. I know it all too well. And that's exactly why we do events like this. How do I get this job as a blind person? Because our vision at Accessibility Officer is that the U.S. disabled unemployment rate should be the same as the U.S. unemployment rate. And in order to do that, we got to get a lot of blind people jobs. I'm totally blind myself. I lost my sight in a car accident as a young adult, and I had no problems, not a one. It was like zero problems for me getting a job as an adult with sight. And then as a blind adult, I couldn't get a job to save my life. And that was a problem, is a problem. And everything we do here at Accessibility Officer is to try to fix that, to try to create employment opportunities and pathways for people like us, people with severe disabilities, people who are blind or visually impaired, people who rely on assistive technologies like screen readers, to provide employment pathways to the committed, to the motivated, to the people that are willing to stand up and do whatever it takes to get that job. You, my friend, are in the right place. Welcome home. My name is Tanner Gers, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at Access Ability Officer. Ability is our middle name, Access Ability Officer, and it is my honor and privilege to be with you here today. So today, what we're going to talk about in this webinar is obviously how can I get this job as a blind person? How do you prove to an employer that you're the right hire? How do you stand out from 300 plus other candidates, often more than that, when they're going after the same job as you are? And how do you know if you're even a competitor for the job, right? And what can you do to be more competitive? Right? So here's a fact. How hard it is, who knows, but I think that it's even a little bit harder than this. Over 70% of blind professionals are unemployed or underemployed. Unemployed or underemployed. I know this for a fact. I know that there's professionals right now in entry level careers that should be, in management. They should be in leadership. They should be in some type of career advanced position, but they're not because of the fears, because of the discrimination, because of the antiquated beliefs and the unconscious bias that people like us face on a daily basis. But that's not going to stop us. We cannot quit, can't stop, won't stop. Not today, ladies and gentlemen. But that's what we're going to be. That's what we're going to be talking about. How do we overcome this problem? So. Um, and then who am I and why do I even like deserve to talk about this with you guys? It's like everything that I'm going to talk about today is going to be things that I've done and implemented myself. These are not going to be, replicated strategies or stolen strategies or tactics that I just pulled out of a hat or I pulled off of like some type of how-to article. These are real deal tactics and strategies that I've implemented to start my career, or really to launch my career in digital accessibility. Um, so I, you know, I got a job. My first job as a blind person was at a call center, and I got the job. It was my first application, the first interview that I had as a blind person, and I got the job. I had no clue how lucky, how blessed, how grateful, how privileged I was to get that first job. Like I just thought it was like, oh yeah, of course, because I always got the job. If I got the interview, I got the job. And then 4 years later, I got fired. Boom. Just over with. And I did not appreciate, how hard it was about to be. For years, I looked for jobs. I even moved from Tucson, Arizona up to Phoenix, Arizona, because I thought I tapped into everything in Tucson. I thought so, and but I'm really competitive, and I play sports, and I got involved with the Paralympics. I represented the United States on the national team for track and field for a few years, and I was so blessed to go to the Paralympics in London. 100 meter and the long jump were my events. And so I've been, in all these different awesome places to do track and field. But what was really awesome is the career advancement, or excuse me, the athlete career transition program that the United States Olympic Committee, today, the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, what they have for their athletes. So I was transitioning out. They were transitioning me into a career. And I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? Like I just told you I'd moved from Tucson to Phoenix. I did that in 2014 because I thought all the opportunities were over with. And In 2015, I got placed at a young tech startup selling digital accessibility job boards that was also based in Tucson, Arizona. It's like, oh man, I was just like banging my head against the wall, like, But anyway, but that was like the light bulb moment for me. I was like, what are you talking about? Accessible job boards? Like, what is this digital accessibility business you speak of? And I learned that, oh wow, like this is a career field, this is an industry, and not only that, but a screen reader is the tool to get into the industry. I'm all in. So, that startup, that opportunity ended. But when that was over, I had this insight, I had this knowledge, I had this information that I was carrying forward that I use a screen reader. A screen reader is the tool to become a digital accessibility tester. I will be a tester. And so this kind of gets into I'm going to start to share my story right now, and it gets into some of the content of what I wanted to share with you guys today. But I didn't know how I was going to break in. I didn't know how I was going to break into the industry, so I started to look around for other agencies providing digital accessibility services. And I found some. I found a nonprofit. One of them was a nonprofit in New York. It's called My Blind Spot. I went to the website. I found a bunch of accessibility issues. Not a bunch, but I found some accessibility issues. I sent them to the CEO, to the founder. I got a meeting, got another meeting, which was really my interview. And then I got a job. I was making about 500 bucks a month as a usability tester. I got a couple promotions. Two promotions later, I'm executive director and I'm building that agency out. I'm hiring blind people, building a digital accessibility consulting business. And that just like changed my life forever. And so, coming back to the bullet points that we're going to talk about today is like, how do I get this job as a blind person? Like, if you're not a digital accessibility tester, cool. What job, what field do you want to go into? Where do you have skills? Where do you have experience? Where do you have education? Where do you have skills, knowledge, expertise, interest? Mapping your talents and your interests to your knowledge, skill, and ability. That's a good idea for vocational goals. And then how do you improve to the employer that you're the right hire, right? So like the co-founder, or not the co-founder, the founder of my blind spot happened to be blind, also happened to lose their sight as an adult. So, I was speaking to them, right? And from my similar perspective, I was proving to the employer that I was the right hire. And then there wasn't 300 other candidates at the time. Like I created the job opportunity, which is like a huge takeaway for you guys. I created the opportunity. I reached out. I proactively tried to find the job when there was no job being solicited. That's a pretty interesting way to stand out. It's easy to stand out against 300 candidates when they don't exist. It's easy to stand out against 300 other candidates that are going for the same job when they don't exist. So, and then how do you know if you're a competitor for the job? Like, I was creating competitiveness by like finding violations on a digital accessibility consulting website. So, the thing that they do, I found violations that they supposedly help against, and that's valuable to them. Right? They don't want that on their website, number one. And number two, it shows that I have the chops, that at least I deserve a seat at the table. And then what can you do to be more competitive? Well, in my journey, it was like, how do I become a ninja screen reader user? How do I learn how to talk enough tech that I can hang with bigger boys? How do I get certifications that are going to open up employment opportunities for me? I did all of these things right? Because I want to be more competitive. It is so competitive out there. And so we've got to be ferociously attacking our goals every single day, one step at a time, so that we can be more competitive and we can, again, go back to proving the employer that I'm the right choice. So I wanted to pause right here. And I want this to be super action oriented for you guys, like very, very tactical. Those are the things that I'm going to show you how to do today. And I'm going to show you how to do it in industries that I'm not even an expert in. I'm going to do it in industries that you guys want to enter. And I want to talk through how I'm going to apply these strategies to your guys' situation. I just kind of talked about how I did it tactically for digital accessibility, but your industry might be human resources. Your industry might be project management. Your industry might be cybersecurity. Your industry might be something totally different. And that's what I want to talk about. I'm gonna help you guys apply these strategies and tactics to your goals so that you guys can replicate it in your own lives. How does that sound? So, if anybody wants to drop in the chat like a job that they're trying to get right now, the expertise that they have, the industry that they want to enter, or if they want, if Rada, I don't know if we have the capacity to bring people off mute if they raise their hand.
Yes, they can automatically unmute.
Okay, so we'll pause right now just for a second, see if anybody wants to come off, and otherwise, I will use some of I think in our last AMA we went over eight different jobs that you guys can get into that are from working from remote, excuse me, working from home, working remotely from home. And so I can just use those as an example. Okay. Well, I'm so pumped that everybody here does not have a problem getting a job. Sounds like, uh, let's see. Okay. I'm smiling big. I'm having a big time. Let me go ahead and pull
Actually, I
up
do have a
Chrome.
question.
Yep, go for it.
Okay. Could you, and I know this wasn't on your list of topics, but the big one I'm facing right now is ageism and being blind.
So, are you sure that it's ageism?
Um, I think it's a factor. I won't attribute to all of it, but um, I'm I'm very careful in my resume to maybe not put in some things because it will date me. Uh, so that's I've been kind of advised to keep my resume short and not go all the way back into my work experiences because I feel like that's going to age me. And then when I look at applications, when it asks questions about, when did you graduate? When did you do something? And so I am concerned about that. And quite frankly, I'll be 62 in September. I'm probably more worried about the job I can truly do. Do I have the stamina?
Hmm. Okay. So those are some I love it, number one. Number two, those are like multiple challenges. And number three, I'm gonna give you the best advice that I can, like on my toes right now. So where are you based?
Ohio.
You're in Ohio. And are you looking for jobs locally in Ohio, or are you looking for remote jobs?
Mostly remote jobs.
Mostly remote jobs. Okay. And then what field is your expertise or experience in?
Um, a little bit everywhere, but right now I have been looking more customer service. But honestly, I have a master's in higher ed and I'm also a certified mediator.
Okay. But you're looking for a customer service role.
Yes.
Okay. Is that because you don't want to do mediation or you don't want to do what
Um,
you're
I think it's probably the easiest shot right now. I am looking more at some of the blindness organizations, if you will. My last job was in customer service, and quite frankly, I felt like I was good at it, but I was let go. And so, but there were aspects of the job I really liked. And what I'm finding with mediation is probably just not quite the level of hours that, that I could say that I've actually mediated seems to be the downside.
okay, cool. And then so all right, so let me recap here. So you got great education background. You've got some experience in mediation, but you also have some experience in customer service and really kind of want to focus there. You're looking for remote
Yes.
jobs and
Yes.
you're regionally based in Ohio.
Yes.
Okay, this is going to be, it will be insanely difficult um, to try to catch the attention of someone who's working at a call center or a customer service place like that to get them away from, their normal daily life is what I would say for you to create a relationship with them. So let me come back to this. What is going on here? I apologize. I am. traveling right now. I'm looking sharp and fancy in a t-shirt and I'm not using my normal keyboard here, so I'm getting a little bit messed up. But um, okay, so how do you prove to an employer that you're the right hire? So at a call center, it's like you're just essentially playing a numbers game, and essentially you're playing the AI applicant tracking filtering system game, which means to your point, it's like, hey, the only way I'm really going to break through is if my resume meets the exact criteria that fits this job. Then there's going to be a filter, right, that cuts everybody out. So you're probably going to get cut out, and it's probably going to be something based on your experience, your years of experience. It's probably going to be based on some keywords in your thing, whatever the hell it's based on. The fact is that you haven't cracked the quote unquote code for resumes as it relates to call centers. If you wanted to try to crack that code, what I would, how are you incorporating the job posts that you're going for? How are you incorporating those into your resumes?
Probably I've got just the basically catch-all resume right now that I haven't gone back and done the and tailored it to that job to say I want this type of job, and I take ownership of that. I've probably been a little
Yeah.
bit too quick to just get things out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, problem number one right now. So like I can, for example, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on our last AMA that the last digital accessibility tester job that we put up had over 300 applicants. And then, so of those applicants, I don't even see them all because I have LinkedIn put in special things. Like if they don't meet those criteria, I don't even see them. So I don't even think anybody's ever seen your resume, let alone, and if they looked at your resume, it would be for less than 10 seconds. They would literally open it, scan it, and then, they'd be looking for your phone number, if anything, to try to call you if they wanted to talk to you, right? To set up an initial call. But that would be the first thing is that you need to be customizing every resume for the specific job that you're posting for. I don't recommend using resumes. I would tell you like, hey, like you should probably be looking for something more advanced than an entry level customer service position. But if I was going for an entry level customer service position, what I would have to do is incorporate all the keywords from the job post into my resume even if it doesn't make sense, right? It's got to make some sense. It's got to make more and more sense now because they're introducing AI into these applicant tracking systems. So it's more complex than just keywords now, meaning your resume has to be even sharper. And the more generalized your resume is like more prone to it being flagged by an applicant tracking system as irrelevant. So you got to be taking all the keywords that they've got in their job post and putting it into your resume in an effective way that's comprehensible. It makes sense because they're going to be looking for those things in all their resumes. The language is right there. So that's how you're going to break through. Like at that kind of job where they will literally have hundreds, if not thousands of people applying to those positions, that's your only chance. The second chance is that if you know somebody, right, which is the real chance. That's why, Albert gave me the job at my blind spot. That's why, Kirk Adams gave me the job at AFB. That's why Chris Weirley gave me the job at UsualNet, right? Like they knew me. Albert, he maybe only knew me across a few phone calls, but he had enough conviction about who I am as a person to hire me. And then I allowed my rapport, my performance over the next few years to create those employment opportunities for myself in those next future jobs. So, you know, if I were, do you have like, another way to think about this is like, what are the big call center companies that are in the Ohio area? And I would be, starting to use LinkedIn to source which are the hiring managers, which are the directors, which are the managers that are working there. And I would, I don't think it would be effective because I candidly, I don't think that some of those people care enough, but I would try to create a relationship with them so that your name, like you could get a recommendation. Ultimately, you could get a recommendation to the hiring manager. Hey, companies often use like recruiting incentives for their employees. You guys may have seen some of your people, your friends who are blind or visually impaired who are working at organizations who do this, where they're promoting, hey, we're hiring, mention me when you go into the interview process, right? Because they'll get like a $200 or a $500 or some type of bonus if you get hired and you stay on for like 3 months. So, um, the companies want to hire people that are recommended to them, that are referred to them. And so if you have somebody on the inside, a manager, a supervisor, even just a colleague that says, "Hey, what's your name again, sir?"
Jim.
Jim. So, hey, Jim's a good guy. I've known Jim for a couple years, super professional. Like, I would love to, you should really take a look at him. That is going to get you to the top of the interview process. Is going to get you right up to the top, way more than a resume that leads to a first phone interview, that leads to a second phone interview, that leads to a third group interview, that leads to a fourth group interview, right? Then gets you the job. People are power. You want to say proximal to power. You want to be close to the people because that's all the power. So who's the right people to be close to? But if you don't do that in the situation that you're in, where it's an entry level role and there's thousands of people applying for a remote job from home, like think about that. A remote job that's open to anyone in the United States, how many people do you think right now that don't have disabilities that would love to work from home for 20 or 25 or $30 an hour? Probably millions. There's probably millions of people. So for people like us, we got to do things a little bit differently. But you have a follow-up question? Otherwise, I would I
No,
would
thank
love
you.
to.
No, no,
Yeah.
move on. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep. How about somebody else? Has anybody had a problem proving to the employer that they're the right hire? Like you guys were in the interview, you've been in the interview processes and like, it never went anywhere. Um, how do you even know if you have the right skills, certifications? How do you know if you're even competitive? Like if your resume is competitive enough? I'll give you an example. So, someone who graduated our certified accessibility tester program, they come through the apprenticeship, they're doing their thing, and they're looking for jobs outside of accessibility officer. That's what we promote, right? We want to train and certify people who are blind or visually impaired to be amazing at these jobs so that ultimately they can go out into the quote unquote wild or the real world and change people's minds and perspectives about blindness and what we can do in employment, right? It's professionals like Jim, right, getting out there and changing people's minds about like, yeah, I can earn my master's degree. Like, yeah, I'm a certified mediator. Like, yeah, I can handle this really disruptive, customer complaint. No problem. Like, it's changing perspectives about blindness, achieving that vision. The U.S. disabled unemployment rate should be the same as the U.S. unemployment rate, is about getting people upskilled in jobs and doing them as good as or better than the person without a disability. That's how we really start to change the tide. So, how do you know if you're a competitor for the job? Right. And so, this person who came through the apprenticeship, coming back to the story, this person that came through the apprenticeship, she's applying for jobs. I was like, send me some of these jobs that you're applying for. And she sent me the, the head uh, VP of engineering for accessibility at Microsoft. It was a $400,000 a year job. And she's been in digital accessibility like 3 months. Right? Right? So understanding your competitiveness for a job is another important thing. That's, how you get the job. If you're not competitive, then you need to understand what's needed to get the job, to get a seat at the table at least, to be like catch a hiring manager's attention. Wow, this person has this certification, they meet all of our, not just our required job skills, but they have all of our recommended ones too. This is how you become a competitor for the job. So pause right here. Has anybody had problems with the interview process? Like they're able to get interviews or source an interview, but they're not sure what happened during the interview.
Yes, I have something to say. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, my name is Mina. Um, yes, I've been to a couple of interviews. I supposed to be in the sales department for marketing and marketing for pharmaceutical products. That was in the past before I lost my vision. And then when I'm like a new immigrant, when I came to the United States, I began to find myself with something to do. Then I had to do like a college for medical billing. I had a course for 1 year for medical billing.
Hey, Mina, I don't know if but I don't know what happened, but it seems
Yeah.
like muffled. You seem further away. It's really hard to hear you. I know you're talking, but
Yeah.
it's really hard to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better.
That's much okay. I'm sorry. Okay, then I went for a college for 1 year. Not went. I had a online course for medical billing. I thought it's going to be like helpful for me for the setting that I have a medical background, and it can help me to work as remotely or even in an office or stuff like that. And I
Mhm.
had a couple of interviews, but I don't know what's going on. One of them, yeah, I reached maybe to the point that they told me that I can do 1 day work as like a working interview, and
Yeah.
in that I had to do my accessibility. The place is not, the computer, they're not accessible for me. There is no screen readers, and it was pretty difficult. I didn't tell them through the interview that I have an issue because my vision is like not that bad. They can't recognize how bad my vision is. Then
Yeah.
when the practical time when I had to do, I usually use my magnifiers and stuff like that, and I try to handle with magnifying stuff and my glasses to be able to do the job. I did the job, but it was not that convenient. I definitely with more accessible, I can do better than that. Then
Mhm.
I went home and I got the refusal. So I'm
Mhm.
not sure what was going on. If they were shocked with my disability, or I just had to take much longer time to do the job, and definitely that's not helping the company to hire me.
Yeah.
That's what happened the last interview I went.
Do you use a screen reader?
Yes,
You do.
I
Okay.
not frequently, but when I had to use the laptop or the computer on my daily
Mhm.
basis, I'm using the iPad. It's much easier for me to deal with.
Yeah, because you have the
Uh-huh.
magnification. Do you also
Yes,
use
I have.
contrast?
Not the contrast, the zooming mainly,
Okay.
magnification mainly.
So, has that happened to you in more than one interview?
No, the last one. Before that, I used to go to the interview and then not completing the process stuff.
Hmm. Okay, so multiple challenges. What I would say is that I would call out, so a couple things. So one is higher
Mhm.
level, like is understanding whether or not a company is is open to hiring people with disabilities. So um they don't have to a company does not have to have an active job description for you to learn this information. So let's say it's a small company, they may not have a lot of active job posts, so it might be difficult to learn this right away. You can look to old job posts on Indeed to source this information. For bigger companies that are hiring all the time, it's not a problem. You can look to any job posts, any active job posts. It does not have to be the job that you want, but just a job post, because they have these templates that they use for posting jobs. And in those templates are going to be language. It's going to be uh, language around their um, like their policies and practices. Like we don't discriminate against people, da 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 da. You know, And so what you can look at is how many times do they say disability? If it's one time, if they don't if they don't use the word accessibility, right? If they don't have other language like, hey, if you need assistance with the application process or the interview process for any reason, if you need assistance or an accommodation, please reach out. Hey, we encourage people of all abilities to apply for our. If there's not language like this, then the chances of them being like a disability inclusive workplace are pretty low. So we can kind of set expectations there, but we can also use this information to target the type of companies we do want to work for. So my first question would be is like in the job post, if you could look up that job post again at the name of the company, if you want to share the company name, share the company name. But if we looked at the job post, would they have language like that? If they don't, then that gives me a little bit of insight like, hey, when it was your name was Meta, right?
Mina.
Mina. Mina.
Yeah.
Well, when Mina busts out his magnifiers, that might have scared them. Whoa, what is this? I've never
Mhm.
seen this before. And so they're asking these questions. They're in a fear-based response right now. And so, one way to overcome that is during the interview process is like, hey, like let's say they handed you something you needed to read or fill out. Hey, my eyes are bothering me right now. Hey, I'm actually not able to see this that well in this lighting. Do you mind if I use my magnifiers for this? Hey, I'm gonna use, or you could even just be more direct. Hey, I'm gonna use my magnifiers for this to make sure that I read it. I use magnifiers on a regular basis. It's not gonna impair me from doing this job. I just wanted you to know what I'm doing. Right? So you can mitigate some of their fear and unconscious bias by just calling out what you're doing ahead of time before you doing it, rather than leaving them wondering, hey, what is he doing? Oh, he's visually impaired. He can't see that. Oh my God, we can't hire him. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, but when I think about that issue, then I'm going to like make my opportunities to get a company very low chance. Most of the I'm living at California, but most of the office which is going to hire medical billing is going to be small office, not the big ones. So I'm not sure if there's big like a good chance for hiring me.
Yeah, I mean that's the risk that you take, right? When just blindly applying to jobs at any company. Like before I spent the time to apply for a job, I would look at the job post and analyze, is this a company that is disability inclusive? And if it's not, is that even a company I want to work for? The fact that they didn't, if that was the only thing, right? Like the other gentleman before you was asking about ageism. And like I get ageism, but that's like low on the totem pole of fear, right? As compared to blindness. Um, so, when you tell me about, hey, like I pulled out my magnifiers and I didn't get the job, I don't know why. My immediate response is, well, I wasn't there, so I don't know. I wonder if they are actually a disability inclusive employer to begin with. For me to deduce that, I would want to look at their job posts to see if they have inclusive language. Are they disability friendly? Do they say disability more than one time? Do they say accessibility? Do they say accommodation? Do they say any of those things in their job posts? Do they say we encourage people with disabilities, and of all backgrounds to apply? If they say that, then I would say, hey, maybe there is something else. Maybe it was something else about your interview that they didn't like. Maybe it was that they actually had someone who was more qualified with more experience. And it came down to you and one other person, but they went with the person with more experience. That could be possible. But without me knowing what the job post looked like, I wouldn't be able to like say one way or another. I would say that based on my own experience, they're probably not a disability inclusive employer. I mean, how often do we hear people with disabilities or people with blindness say, "Hey, I went and applied to this job and I got it." They were so awesome the whole way. The hiring process was so accessible. The application was accessible. Onboarding was accessible. Everybody knew exactly what I needed. I didn't have to ask for anything. They anticipated my needs. That doesn't happen because the world wasn't built for us. Right. So, and so if it's not built for us, then we've got to navigate that fear, the unconscious bias, the discrimination, all these like psychological things, these things that are embedded into our society culturally. We've got to navigate these things strategically. So again, if it's just the one job post or if it's just the one interview, I can't really say one way or the other. I would look to the job post to see what their language looks like. And the second thing is that when I'm in the interview process, I wouldn't just whip out, my laptop and like bust out my screen reader and start typing on it. The same way I wouldn't do that with my magnifiers. If I'm going to use an assistive device, I'm going to tell them what I'm going to do before I do it to mitigate some of their fear and their uncertainty about, oh my gosh, this is a risk. If you missed my last AMA, I said the number one reason companies hire people is to solve problems. And how well you solve that problem is called your salary. But the biggest thing that's preventing someone from hiring you or a company from hiring you is risk. And the risk is how well can you actually do the job? And so if you're doing that in the interview process, you're busting out magnifiers and they don't know what that is, pretty confident in saying like, yeah, it's because you're blind. And yeah, it was because you busted out your magnifiers. And yeah, they had other people that were applying that didn't have that issue. That's why you didn't get the job.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, but those would be the strategies I would use to like get around that. One is like, hey, when I my expectations for going into this interview, I can have an idea for what I'm going to experience based on the job post. I can have an indicator based on their website. Do they have an accessibility statement on their website? What does that look like? Yeah. I can have, and then I still want to adjust how I present myself in the interview to mitigate some of their fears. Just tell them what you're going to do before you do it. Hey, just curious, I'm low vision. Have you ever worked with somebody low vision before? No? Okay, cool. We use magnifiers like this, just like you have glasses, just like someone else here might wear glasses. I use a magnifier. I just don't wear glasses. And then do your thing. But yeah, we want to like how we frame the situation, how we present ourselves, how we navigate these situations is so critical, right? It's just the one little thing, just one little thing, and that can be the difference between getting the job and not. Again, because it's risk, right? Like I got 300 other applicants. Well, why would I risk this?
Okay. Thank you.
Good,
Mhm.
good question. Good question, Mina. Who else has got another problem? What do we want to, I know some people came in and dropped, but what we're talking about today is how do I get this job as a blind person? How do you prove to an employer that you're the right hire? How do you stand out from 300 plus other candidates? How do you know if you're a competitor for the job? How do you know if your knowledge, skill, ability, your experience, your background, your everything? How do you know if you're a competitor for the job against those other candidates? Those are the things that we're trying to help out with today. Let's do a little time check. If that's you, I would love to walk through some of the issues that you're facing, show you exactly how I might overcome them, and teach you guys strategies for how to navigate that. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Chrome right now. I'm going to pull up some googly gop. Let me share my screen. If somebody wants to stop me, please do if a question pops up. But I'm just going to show you guys how I might do some of the things that I'm advising today, how quick and easy it can be done, and what you want to be looking for. Okay. So let me share my screen. Let me get my sound checked. All right, should be hearing my screen in a second. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Mina, it was medical billing. Is that what it was? I think it was medical billing, right? So
MEDICAL medical DILLIN billing JOBS Mercer County Community College SBOJ space Mercer County space IND enter medical billing Google search Google Chrome scanner medical billing Google search Google Chrome scanner page medical billing Google search medical billing
all right, so I just searched for medical billing Indeed. That's going to pull up jobs on Indeed for medical billing.
Wrapping the top center home address defined places near level 1. Continue without address button. Space continue without address.
Google knows I'm traveling. Oh my gosh.
Medical billing Google search. Accessibility filters and topics set results for increased search results heading level 1. Medical billing jobs employment in Austin TX heading level 3 link. Enter medical billing Google search main region medical billing jobs employment in Austin TX and https://
All right.
title is sign vertical bar.
Here we go. Medical billing Indeed.
Medical billing jobs in Austin TX heading level 1. Full details of surgery benefit coordinator revenue cycle Austin heading level 2 toggle button press.
That's not you. Is that going too fast for y'all? Let me slow it down a little bit.
Heading level 2 toggle button press full details of surgery benefit heading level 2 toggle heading level 2 toggle button press full details of from $45,000 heading full details of patient financial coordinator heading level 2 button.
Patient financial coordinator.
Full details of cost containment analyst heading level 2 button. $19 full details of claims analyst heading level 2 button.
Claims analyst. We'll just use this one as an example.
Often responds within 3 days.
Often responds within 3 days.
Space. Medical billing jobs employment in Austin TX vertical bar Indeed return.
I just hit space on this. I'm going to jump to the bottom of the screen to navigate up by heading.
Main region end. Full job pay heading level job details heading. Here's how the job details align with your link job preferences left parent opens heading -- separator. Education heading level 3. Skills heading level 3. Profile insights heading level 2. Claims analyst job post heading level 2. Link PC and the link left parent opens in a new tab right parent Austin TX 78729 bullet remote. $20 an hour. Apply now opens in a new tab button. Save job button. Not interested toggle button heading level 2 profile insights. Here's how the job qualifications of skills heading level 3. Education heading level job details heading level 2. Here's how the job details align with your link heading level 3 pay. List of 1 items. Pay group. Pay list end. Group end -- heading level 2 full job description. Job responsibilities. As a medical claims analyst, you will be responsible for determining eligibility of claims under major medical and self-insured plans, investigating charges, explaining payment or denials to claimants, and more.
All right.
Key responsibilities may include colon.
So key responsibilities. So I'm going to skip past this, right? I'm going to be looking for that templated type of language stuff, right?
List of 11 bullet list and what you're looking for left parent nobody's perfect but experience is a plus right parent.
This is so I'm so glad that they did this, right? Like as job seekers, y'all, like this is for reals.
What you're looking for left parent nobody's perfect but experience is a plus right parent.
My rule of thumb is 80%. If you meet 80% of the required or the recommended, good to go.
List of 13 items. Bullet able to bullet list and what you're looking for left parent nobody's perfect but list of 13 bullet high school diploma. Bullet able list end. Bullet able to work well with others. Bullet able to maintain attendance and present a professional.
I stopped because it said able and that caught my attention.
Bullet able to meet deadlines. Bullet able to accurately compile data. Perform it. Bullet able to adapt to a constantly changing environment and multitask. Bullet comfortable with software and technology and willing to learn new systems. Bullet good at problem solving and analyzing. Bullet able to list end. Separator. If you require alternative methods of application or screening, you must approach the employer directly to request this as Indeed is not responsible for the employer's application process. Report job button. Return to search result button.
So you tell me, did y'all hear anything in there? Let's do this.
Virtual find. JAWS version 2008. CCESS. Access. Enter. To activate. Press enter. Link accessibility at Indeed. Virtual find. JAWS enter. To activate. Press enter. Wrapping the top. Link accessibility at Indeed.
That's the only word of accessibility on this whole page. What about disability?
Virtual find. Find what code DISABIITY. Disability. Enter. To activate. Press enter. Wrapping the top. Disability insurance.
There we go.
Virtual find. Enter. Wrapping the top. Disability insurance. Dental insurance. Disability insurance. List and nesting level 1.
So they got disability insurance. They don't even say protected classes, right? So, or discriminate. Let's see if they do discriminate. Oh, and can Tanner spell discriminate? That is the big question.
Virtual find. JAWS version 2020. ESCRIMINATE. Discriminate. Enter. JAWS no manual. OK.
All right.
OK button.
Hey, I'm on video. You're on video right now. We're live right now. Yep. So,
OK button. Space.
I cannot spell discriminate, so I'm going to use word.
Search box edit. Type W. Taskbar collapsed. Word. Press right to enter. Menu. Title is document 2 word. Backspace 2. Blank document. To move from items. Press up or down arrow. Enter. Leaving menus. Document 2 word. Edit. DSSCRIMINATE. Discriminate. Autocorrect colon discriminate. Autocorrect colon discriminate. Space. Discriminate. Selected. Copy selection to clipboard. Task switching. Medical billing jobs. Employment in Austin. TX vertical bar D dash Google Chrome. To move to an item. Virtual find. JAWS version 2000. Paste it from clipboard. Enter. JAWS no manual. OK button. Medical billing jobs. Employment in Austin. TX vertical bar D space. Disability insurance. Virtual find. To activate. Discriminate.
Yeah, discriminate.
Enter. Discriminate. JAWS version 2025.25 escape.
It's not there, right? So this is probably with high confidence, probably not an inclusive employer. Probably never hired a person with a disability before. So even if this was someone in medical billing, this and you were lined up for this perfectly, the chances of you getting this job are pretty close to nil. Because as soon as you bust out that your need for an accommodation, that you use an assistive technology, that you need magnification, it's going to raise the fear red flag, right? So you want to, having an employer that has some of these things in their job posts is the first indicator that, like, hey, this is probably an employer that I want to work for. Hey, they probably have onboarding systems that are actually accessible. They actually probably have hired a person with a disability before, and maybe their internal applications are accessible to my screen reader. If you don't see any of this kind of language in a job post, there's unless there's a stroke of luck and they just happen to buy an accessible software, accessible applications, there's a pretty good chance that this employer is not going to hire you.
Okay,
So go
I
ahead.
have a question now. So it looks like most of the companies which I applied to, or
Before 8
maybe
p.m.
which is available, is going to be like with the small ones, with not friendly with accessibility or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that give me another question. Am I targeting the suitable job for myself? Is medical billing is going to be like easy one to have a job with my vision? That's
Yeah.
that's that's another question. I'm sorry for that, but I
It's a
was
no,
now
it's a great
getting
question.
back. Yeah,
It's a great question, Mina. And I love, like, you're giving me more ideas for how to creatively solve the problem that you have, which is that there's got to be an accessible medical billing software. There's got to be. Who do you
yeah.
know that's blind in medical billing?
I think there's definitely yes, but the company is using like there's not too many companies. It's like I'm getting fewer chances to have a job, so I'm targeting with my condition a job with fewer chances for the companies to be able to. So I'm getting myself like lower percentage to get myself hired. That's
I
why I'm
understand.
asking, do I have another option? Can I figure out another thing for myself to be able to get myself a job? And was it the right choice from the beginning?
Yeah. So I can't
Mhm,
answer that last question. Rada,
mhm.
Mina, are you able to access links in the chat?
Uh, I can,
If if Rada puts a link in the chat, would you be able to get to it?
yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll email this out to everybody. What Rada, if you could put in the chat um the 8 jobs, that the top 8 jobs, the
Uh-huh.
last AMA and our blog post. So we
Mhm.
Compare the
put it together in a blog post. But so you can always change your career.
promote accessibility hours for everyone. Bold again.
You can always do that. You can always change your career. But what I was going to say, which I think is applicable to other people who are not in medical billing, is that, like, whatever field that you're in, we'll just say medical billing, are there other blind people in that career? And if there are other blind people in that career, I would ask them, hey, what applications do you use at work? Are they accessible? And if they are accessible, I would be looking for all the companies that use that software, right? Because if you know what companies use the software that's accessible, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good conversation starter. Not only so I'm thinking about multiple things and I'm going to boil them down for you right now. So number one is that, companies hire people to solve problems. And if you know about the problems that they're currently facing, that increases their confidence in your ability to solve their problem. So, hey, medical billing company, I know that you currently use this software, which is accessible for people like me. I know that you're probably running into this problem, and I have experience in how to overcome those things. I'm the right person for this job. I would love to talk with you about this. I would love to move forward with this. Like, versus every other candidate who's coming at it like, yeah, I've done medical billing before. Yeah, I've used that software, right? Like, versus you knowing about their business and you bringing it up. I know that you guys are using this software for this purpose. Do you like it? Has that been a good system for you guys? I know from experience that you might be having problems with this. Is that true for you? I would love to help you solve that problem. I can help you overcome that. That's not a problem for me. Working around those, do you understand how I'm kind of framing that conversation? So if it's in counseling, if it's mental health
I
counseling, yeah, mental health counseling, medical billing, if it's, digital accessibility, if it's human resources, if it's sourcing, if it's cyber, whatever it is, every single company is going to have internal applications, internal software that they use to run their business. We do it at Accessibility Office. We have a ton of them. And so you knowing about their business is going to help set you apart from others.
Tanner, Taryn wants to add something.
Oh my gosh, who let her in here? Taryn, welcome to the party. Please add away.
Okay, I just wanted to add something because I actually work in healthcare. I work as a case manager for medically fragile children, and we actually use software that is very accessible. We use it for chart notes, we use it for visit notes, and we also use it for billing. Now, I don't work
Ooh.
specifically with medical billing. However, the application that we use is called CanTime, CanTime. And again, I don't work with the medical billing, but I would imagine if the ability to have like accessible chart notes is there, maybe they also have the ability to have accessible medical billing programs. But I did want to add too, like I work for a company that serves the disability community. So inclusivity is very important to them. So that I feel like that was a really good kind of like thing that Tanner was mentioning is, look and see maybe if you want to do medical billing, work for a clinic that offers occupational, physical, and speech therapy, mental health counseling, maybe the VA, maybe like a children's hospital that has a spina bifida clinic, a muscular dystrophy clinic. These companies that serve the disabled community, they will be more likely to have accessibility built into their technology. So that's just what I wanted to add. C A
Well,
N
you're
T I M
just
E.
CanTime, can
Yes.
time. Well, you are
CanTime.
just absolutely crushing it, Taryn. Thank you so much. That
Oh,
was
thank you.
awesome. So, like, Mina, so like I might go to ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok and be like, hey, tell me everything you can about can time. I want the all this information, and it's going to give you the website, right? You should go to the website, but you should also ask ChatGPT, what are all the customers of CanTime? What are the big customers of CanTime? And um I'm saying this for other people too, right? That if you want to break into an industry or a field or a job and you know what software that's accessible, you can start to look for that software and there are customers that use that software and go look for jobs at those companies. Like if you know that a company is using accessible software that you need for your job, I'd be looking to go and work at those companies. But Taryn, what a super, super smart idea to be looking at companies who use CanTime, looking at companies where disability services or their clients are a majority or some significant portion of their clientele. That is super, super smart. Mina, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's great. I was just trying to type it right now to get the name for the from the ChatGPT. Thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely.
Mhm.
That was great advice, Taryn.
Sorry, I wanted to add one more thing. I can tell you 100% there is a home health company, M as in Mike, G as in golf, A as in alpha, MGA. They are a home health company and they are in all 50 states. And I do know for a fact that they use CanTime. So regardless on where
Woo!
you live, maybe reach out to them And I know lots of home health
Look at
companies
PM.
use them, and they oftentimes do have work from home opportunities. So maybe look them up, give them a try.
So I love that. I mean, Taryn, what a great spot to wrap up on is like, guys, when we and gals, like when we're struggling with employment, we got to take a step back, right? And look at like, hey, what are the strategic ways that we can break in? How can I find the right companies to apply for? Understanding what their technology stack is, the internal applications and software systems that they use to do the job, and you knowing what that looks like for you, like mapping those things together and going and finding those companies. I mean, so smart. And that is the difference between, putting in a ton of applications and going nowhere and then actually getting a recommendation. Being like, oh my gosh, this person, isn't just like qualified, but they know about our business. Oh my gosh, so smart, Taryn. So thank you guys all so much. I will stay on for just a couple minutes to answer a couple of other questions, but I've got to run. Accessibility Officer.